All right, so welcome everyone to this martPath 101 tutorial workshop. My name is Emily Schalk and I am the Professional Development Director at the Alpaugh Family Economics Center. And today we are going to introduce you to martPath. And martPath is our award-winning financial literacy curriculum that provides quality financial literacy resources that are engaging and easy to implement in the classroom. Why martPath? Well, one of the main benefits is its flexibility, which you will see as I'm presenting, and I will definitely point out different areas where you can modify for your students. Another benefit of using martPath in your classroom is that we are constantly evolving it as a platform. So I'm going to touch on some of the supplemental materials that are available for you to use with your students, as well as it is an award-winning curriculum. And it also provides you with a great way to lay a solid foundation of financial literacy while also teaching those core concepts that you already need to teach, such as social studies and math. Um, so what I would like to do is show you kind of the nuts and bolts of how to access the platform and give you some best practices for implementing it in your classroom. If you do have any questions throughout this workshop, you can feel free to put it in the chat box and I will allot some time at the end to give you some answers to those questions. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. So the first thing you need to know is how to access the platform. So you will want to navigate to smartpathlearning.com, and this is the landing page that you will see. So as you can see, there are a lot of different resources available to you. But the first thing I would suggest you do if you want to use the platform in your classroom is go right to the login sign up page. So if you've already created one, you can click here on the right, or if you have not, you will click here to register. So I've already logged in. So once you log in, this is the landing page that you will see. So martPath is available for grades 1 through 8. Now, however, we do have a lot of kindergarten teachers who also use the platform. So as you can see here, it's labeled level instead of grade. That is an example of one of those times where we took the direct feedback that you all gave us that said that you wanted to perhaps teach the third grade or the third level with your fifth grade students because you thought those concepts were relevant to your students. So we took out the grade and we put level there so that there is some flexibility with the titles and names of the grades. Now I will say level 1 does correlate to grade 1 content standards. So just to clarify. All right, so once you log in and create an account, you will want to select your grade level up here in the top left corner. And after you select it, I'm going to do level 1 just for the sake of this workshop. And the first thing you'll see is an overview of the financial literacy focus for that grade level. So for level 1, you and your students are going to follow Lieutenant Maynard as he prepares to sail against Blackbeard the pirate. To ready himself and his crew, he purchases a range of goods and services and has to prioritize his spending according to their importance. So in this unit for your level 1 students, it's going to focus a lot on types of purchases and goods and services, as well as classifying these purchases as either needs or wants. And in a moment, I will go ahead and jump into the actual lessons and show you what those look like. So like I said, that's the financial literacy focus. And then when you scroll down, you're actually going to see the standards that are mapped for that grade level. So if you scroll down here, Ohio's learning standards are mapped to this. So there's some math in there, adding and subtracting within 20s. There's some social studies in there. And of course, we also have those financial literacy standards that are tied to that, to the level 1 as well. Now, if you toggle over here, you will see the National Jumpstart Financial Literacy Standards as well. And those are going to show you what all is covered in that. So another amazing benefit to using SmartPath is that it has built-in pre and post assessments. So this is an amazing tool for you guys to use in your classroom for a variety of reasons. Of course, I know there is always a need for additional ways to track how your students are improving. And I think that this is a very easy way to also introduce, especially the young kiddos, into online test taking skills. So and then it's just a great way for you as a teacher to see how your students have grown from the beginning to implementing the 3 lessons to the end. So what I'm going to do really quickly before we jump right into the lessons is I'm going to show you how to administer those assessments. So the first thing you'll do is go to the pre-assessment tab over here on the left. And then you're going to scroll down. And I will say, we do understand that not every teacher or student is going to have access to all of this technology. So there is the ability for you to input an average if you can't have your students take them digitally. So you can also, if you don't want to use the built-in platform, you can download the PDF. There's an answer key. And then what you would do is you would check this box right here. And then after you tally the average of your students' pre-assessment scores by hand, you would type it in there. Now, if you are interested, if you are interested in doing the pre-assessment via the built-in portal, make sure this is not checked, okay? So let me show you what this assessment looks like. So you can click right here to enter pre-assessment. And what you are actually going to see is a preview for you as the teacher of what the pre-assessment questions are. So this is not the assessment page yet. So what I would recommend to you is to go through and read the questions and see if this is something, this grade level is appropriate for your students. Now, of course, before you give the material and the lessons to them, it might be things that they don't know, but just make sure it is within their, ability levels, etc. So another cool thing, and I will say we are in the process of working on accessibility, but currently we do have the ability for grades 1 and 2 to be read aloud. Now we are working on extending that. So for the young kiddos who might need some additional support, you can push on this play arrow right here. And please let me know if for some reason you cannot hear this in the chat box, but you should be able to hear it read this to you.
Let's meet a group of friends who want to buy some things. Can you help them figure out what they can and can't afford to buy?
All right. So as you can see, that's another really cool added thing. Okay, as a teacher, I'm looking through to see, yes, I think my students are ready to take this assessment. There's even drag and drop things in the assessment. So even though it's an online assessment, they are engaging, I would say, more than maybe a typical assessment. Okay, so I, as the teacher, let's say I've taken a look and I believe that I want to give this to my students. I'm ready to give this pre-assessment. So that is when you would go to the top right here and click on Start Student Pre-Assessment. And then the first thing you'll want to do is just give a simple name to your class. And you can use the date or whatever. For those of you teachers who have been doing this perhaps or have used SmartPath in the past, this is a great way for you to track which class you are working with. Maybe you are a social studies teacher in 5th grade and you have multiple 5th grades that you teach social studies in. Maybe you have a 5A and a 5B. This is a good way to keep track of them. So after you enter your title of your class, you will look down here, and this right here, the link that I've just highlighted, that is what you are going to give to your students to take this assessment. They do not need to create accounts. The only person who needs to create a free account for SmartPath is the teacher. And then it is meant to be a teacher-led classroom experience. So that is another error or confusion that sometimes pops up is that teachers sometimes think that they need to have each of their students create an account. No, that is not the case. All that the student needs to take this assessment is this link. So again, here's where the flexibility comes in. Some teachers will have a computer set up in their room and do group work and have them take turns doing it. This is tablet ready, so you can have them do it on a tablet. Some teachers will go into a computer lab and have them do it that way. Copy and paste this into, a Google Classroom, however you want. This is a unique link for you to give to your students to take this assessment. So let me show you. Let's pretend that I am now a student. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link, and it will ask your student to enter their first and last name. So make sure they are ready to do that. And then they will click start. And then that is when they will start taking this assessment. So they will read the questions and push submit and move through. I will say the assessments are pretty short. I would say that the first grade one is one of the longest. They're no more than 15 questions tops, but a lot of them are around 7 questions, depending on the grade level. Okay, so here's what's really cool is that if you toggle back to your assessment control panel, you are going to see a live preview of your student taking the assessment. And as more students click on this and start taking the assessment, they will all start populating in that assessment control panel. So if we go back here and we kind of refresh it, you will see, yep, there's Jane Doe, there's John Smith. So it's a live preview of their progress. And it's a cool way if you toggle over, you can see the green means they got it correct, red means they got it incorrect. You can see the question. So let's say Jane Doe's been stuck on number 7 for a while. Maybe you want to pop over there and see if everything's okay, if she has any questions. Now, I will say if all of them are getting it incorrect, perhaps that's a standard that you'd want to cover again. The question and the standard are there once you talk, when you hover over. So this link will stay live until you select end test. So that's another common question that that we get is that what if I have a student that's absent? Well, that's totally fine. You can have them take it the next day. But once every single one of your students who you want to take the test has taken it, that's when you will select end test. So what it's going to do when you select end test, excuse me, is it's going to give you a spreadsheet. And you can download that spreadsheet, and it's going to have your students' names on there, as well as their scores. You can also download these cool certificates, and the certificates are going to auto-populate the names of your students. Let's see if I can show you that. So it's a really cool additional way that you can print these out. I've had some teachers who put them in like smaller format and laminate them so they can put them in like a wallet or their pocket. And our hope is that they would bring this home to show their parents so they could kind of understand, oh, they're learning about financial literacy in class. That's awesome. Their teacher's really with it. So that is the pre-assessment. Again, once you are finished with that, you can go back to your control panel, and we are ready to get into the lessons. Now, the lessons are all structured the same way for every grade level. Every grade level has 3 lessons, and the first thing is the concept that is going to be taught. So for level 1, lesson 1, students will learn that goods and services can be traded for currency. And then these learning objectives, that you could put on your board. Students will be able to define goods and services and understand that goods and services can be purchased. And then if you scroll down, if there's any additional materials needed, it'll be listed here. And here is where this is, I think, a really great thing for teachers in particular, is that it breaks down for you each piece of the lesson and how long it will take. So again, here's where the flexibility comes in. Now, if I have 10 minutes in my morning meeting that I want to spend, I can, stretch out a lesson to do, each part, little part by part for a week. You can also do them in, a 30-minute chunk and knock them out 1, 2, 3 in 3 days. So how you implement it is completely up to you. And you can also print off a PDF that has all this information so that you have it here. So let's take a look at the structure of lesson 1. So in lesson 1, it's going to start with a 6-minute video. And then it's going to go into a little interactive, which I'll show you what that looks like. And then there's going to be a discussion slide. Now on these discussion slides, we even give you the talking points. So you really, SmartPath is just, you sign up for a free account and everything is there for you. So the planning aspect, I know as a teacher, that can get overwhelming, planning and creating lesson plans. So we've done that all for you, even the talking points. And then there's going to be another interactive, another video, and then level 1, lesson 1 is going to end with a discussion slide. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what do these lessons look like. So to enter the lesson, you'll click right up here in the top right. And again, please let me know if for some reason you cannot hear it, because you should. So once you enter, you can either just click or you can push your space bar. And I'm just going to play a little bit of this and walk you through it. And again, this is meant to be a teacher-led classroom experience. So you could do it on a smart board or projector, anything along those lines. So let me show you what this looks like.
Oh, hello there. How are you today? Well, I actually can't hear what you're saying, but I thought it was polite to ask. I'm your narrator for today. That means I'm going to tell a tale. A tale of greatness and bravery and honor. It's a tale of 2 things which you probably use every day, but you might not even know it. These things are called goods and services. To learn about goods and services and how they work, we need to go back to a time where there were no cars, no light bulbs, no lollipops, no bikes, no internet, and even no me. We're going back to the year 1718. Do you know who was around in 1718? Pirates! Yarr! Meet Blackbeard. He was called Blackbeard because his beard was black. No, black. Black! Yes, that's right. Black.
Yar, that's right. This here beard is how I got my name. Yar!
He did all the things that pirates did, like jousting on sharks, talking to parrots, and stealing golden treasure. But in nearby Hampton, Virginia, there was someone who wanted to put a stop to Blackbeard's shenanigans. That someone was this gentleman here.
Good day.
Robert Maynard.
That's Lieutenant Robert Maynard of the British Royal Navy, but let's not be too formal. You can call me Rob.
Thanks, Rob. So I understand that to capture Blackbeard, you need to prepare a few things.
Well, that's right. I do.
And what are they, if you don't mind us asking?
Well, I have to fix the sails so I can sail. I need to buy more rope to tie up Blackbeard when I finally catch him. I'll need lots of rope so he doesn't get away. I need some salted pork to feed my crew. The saltiest pork possible. I'd like a fiddle to play some music while at sea. It's easy to become terribly bored, you see. This way I can keep up my fiddle practice, and maybe one day I'll become a professional fiddler. Maybe I need to plug a little leak in my ship. At the moment, it's being plugged by a cork. Genius! But we're not going to get very far with a cork in the hull, are we?
Interesting. Here's a question, Rob. Do you know which of these are goods and which of these are services? Goods? Services? What on earth are they? Say, Rob, let's head to town and see if we can find some examples of goods and services. Oh, splendid! I could certainly use a break from all my work here. Let's go! So, Rob, goods and services are names for the things you buy. Everything you buy is either a good or a service. Goods are things that you can touch, or maybe even own, like a banana, or a bicycle, a TV, or a house. What's a TV and a bicycle? We'll learn about that in another lesson.
Okay. This is the beginning of lesson 1, and throughout the rest of level 1, we continue to follow Lieutenant Maynard as he tries to get the things he needs in order to capture Blackbeard. Then the students start to categorize the items that he purchases between a good and a service. The next thing they do is determine whether or not he has enough money to buy all the things on his list. So they'll be presented with a calculator and they have to start counting the coins. And spoiler alert, he does not have enough to purchase all the items on his list. So that is when the students start to learn and discuss needs versus wants. So they will help Lieutenant Maynard they will help him create a list to prioritize his spending and make sure that he has all the things he needs before he purchases all the things he wants. So the structure of martPath is very character-based, and it is very engaging, and it will follow, for all grade levels, it's different characters, and you follow those characters throughout all 3 lessons. So we do have a lot of teachers who give feedback that say, my students love the pirates. They ask for more pirates, the next day. So it's a really great and fun, engaging way to keep the students excited about the curriculum. So after the video, and I did want to show you, if you look over here, you can navigate through the different parts by clicking on this little button, these little bullet points. So if you do choose to, implement just the first and second one day, it's easy to just kind of navigate the different things. So after this little video, you will go into an interactive.
Let's see how well you can tell goods and services apart. Let's say Joel teaches Olivia how to do a cartwheel, and in return, Olivia gives Joel a piece of chocolate. Which one is a good? Which is a service?
So this is, again, where you can choose how you want to do this with your students. You could, if this is a smart board, you could have them come up to the smart board and drag and drop it, or they could work in teams ahead of time to figure out what their answer is and then maybe raise their hand. So you would just drag and drop. So the chocolate bar is the good, and the cartwheel is the service.
Correct. If you buy a rake and then use the rake to clear up some leaves on a sidewalk, which is a good and which is a service?
So again, the raking of the leaves is the service and the rake is the good.
Nice work. What if Lauren gives Christopher her sandwich and Christopher gives Lauren his pizza? Which is a good? Which is a service?
This one's a little tricky. They're both goods. Now I will show you the noise it makes if they get it incorrect. Very obvious they got it incorrect.
Great work! It looks like you all know about these goods and services. Let's help Rob figure out which of these things on his list is a good or a service.
So then you're going to move into one of those discussion questions that we talked about. So what goods and services have you used today? So you'll want to begin this discussion with your students. Now, again, here's where the flexibility can come in. You could easily have it be a 5-minute discussion, 6-minute discussion where you just talk to them about the goods and services. And again, remember, if you go back to the lesson plan outline, we already have the talking points ready for you. If you want to incorporate a little more language arts, you could, or reading or writing, you could have them write sentences, give me 2 sentences that include goods you've used, 2 sentences that include services. So I brushed my teeth this morning. The toothbrush is a good. I drove the bus today. The bus driver was providing a service. So you can incorporate even more. And you all know your students and you know how much time you have. So by all means, do what works best for you. All right, so then after this, it's going to go back into the story. So it started with goods and services, kind of more generic in the students' lives, cartwheels, raking leaves, chocolate bars, and then it's going to go back into the story. So if we skip ahead, you will do another one, another interactive.
Let's take another look at the list. If you think something is a good, drag it over here. If you think it's a service, drag it here.
All right, so pork is a good.
By golly, it's a good! That's right. Salted pork is a good. Back in the 1700s, sailors had to be careful about what food they took to sea. Fresh food would rot, so they would take things that could keep for a long time, like salted pork. Other popular items were sea biscuits, beans, and oatmeal.
All right, let's do one more. Fixing.
Of course, a service! That's right. Fixing a leak in a ship is a service. Rob will need to fix the leak if he wants to set sail and catch Blackbeard. Without it, his ship will sink. Oh dear, we don't want that.
All right, and then it's going to go into a little wrap-up video.
I couldn't have done it without you. Now that I know this, I can go buy my goods and services and stop that pesky Blackbeard from stealing all the gold from our ships. We saw today that goods are things that you can own, like a pet elephant, or food that you can eat. Services are actions that people want done, like mowing the lawn, or shoveling snow, or teaching someone math. Everything you use can be called a good or service. Goods and services are important because you use them every day and many of them are necessary. How else would you eat when you're hungry if people didn't sell you food? How would you wear new clothes when your old ones fall apart? How would you learn new things without someone teaching you? One day, you might provide a good or a service to your local community. Whether it's walking dogs for neighbors or selling pet rocks. When you grow up, you might provide a service like fighting fires or being a doctor. Or you might sell goods like your local supermarkets or toy shops. Many jobs are connected to goods or services. Can you name some jobs and the good or service they provide? If you're brave enough, you might even capture a pirate.
Okay, so then it's going to end again with another discussion slide. Name some jobs and the good or service they provide. So to get this started, you could say, what does your guardian do? What about, let's think about jobs in this building. So it's a really, again, way for you to start the discussion and start them talking about these goods and services. And then you as a teacher can kind of take the reins and you can explore how you can implement it and extend it in your classroom. Again, you could have them draw pictures of let's think. So a teacher provides a service. They teach students so that they could draw a picture of the teacher, etc. And then a bus driver, you got here, and a bus driver provides a service. The bus is actually a good, but the service is the bus driver driving them to the school. So there's just a lot of different ways that you can go about talking about this topic. So that is the end of lesson 1. So to exit, you'll click right here in the top left. And then, as I said, every grade level has 3 lessons, and they're all structured the same way. So you'll just continue to kind of dig a little bit deeper into the story, and have these interactives, these videos, these discussion slides, all throughout all the grade levels. I do want to point out that there are also some really great additional activities built in. So where it says materials checklist, so for level 1, lesson 3, there is an additional fun activity you can do that's a little bit more engaging in regards to getting them out and doing some group work. So we wanted to hit on as many different learning styles as possible. So this is just a very simple trading game. So you'll basically divide your students into 3 groups: cowboys, clowns, and pirates. And then they are going to have to kind of walk around and trade for things that they think that their character would want. So of course, you know, if you're a pirate, let's have them start with clown shoes, cowboy boots, and a parrot, and they're going to try to trade for a pirate flag, a treasure chest, and things of that sort. So it's a really simple trading simulation, but a way for them to start talking about, well, why does somebody maybe value one thing over another? There's questions that you can ask to them afterwards as well for kind of a learning check. So those are, you know, I believe we added middle school, but for grades 1 through 6, they do have these activities. 7th and 8th does not, but they are in grades 1 through 6. So you give the pre-assessment, teach all 3 lessons, and then we have a post-assessment. Now the post-assessment is the exact same as the pre-assessment. So I'm not going to go into how to do that, and they're the same exact questions. And it's just a really great way for you to determine how much your students have learned from before and after they got this material. There is also homework that you can download and print off. It's just PDFs that you can print and send home. And they also even use the characters from the grade level. So everything is right here for you. Very fun, very, very engaging, very easy to implement. Not a heavy lift for teachers. I will say a lot of teachers like to do this even before or after their testing times, because it's just a nice way to break up the testing and do something a little bit different with their students. So what I would like to do really quickly is just give you a very brief overview of the different grade levels, so you can kind of get an introduction of the characters that you'll be introduced to and the concepts, financial literacy concepts that are going to be taught. Because I know all of you are coming from a different grade. So level 1, we already talked about. That's Lieutenant Maynard capturing Blackbeard and talking about needs and wants. Then we move up to level 2, and this is Timmy and Tammy, who live in above their father and their family's candy store, and their father teaches them about all the different aspects of how and what it takes to run a store. So they learn about the history of money and goods and services, producers and consumers, and the different forms of transaction, and why some forms of transactions are better for a particular situation than others. So level 3, you're introduced to, I will say this is my personal favorite, Ronan and Toby, who are 2 skunks who want to go to an amusement park called Stinkland, and the only problem is that they just don't have enough money. So they plan to sell pizza, but they kind of run into a difference in opinion of how much they want to charge for their pizza. And so that makes them kind of start understanding the concept of producers markets and consumers and the basics of creating a budget and creating a pricing strategy. Level 4, is about two bears named Gil and Jackie, and they want to own a pet barracuda. And in order to do that, they kind of have to figure out how to convince their mom about it. So you kind of learn about one-time versus ongoing costs when it comes to owning a pet. So one of the one-time costs is the aquarium, ongoing would be the food for the pet. This also has a lot of advertising technique information in it. So if you are kind of going over the different types of persuasive advertising techniques, this would be a really great grade to hit on with your students. Level 5 is about two bison named Mac and Cheese, and they want to enter their school's costume contest, but they don't have enough money to buy the materials to make their costume. So they want to get a job. So this is a lot about, even at a young age, how can I earn some money? So they start to explore different jobs and determine which one would be best for them in order to make the most money and for them as individuals. So level 6 is about two twins named Raquel and Stella. They have similar expenses and goals, but the way that they approach managing their finances is completely different. So one likes to spend, one likes to save. So students learn about comparative shopping and creating a budget. So once we get to grades 7 and 8, it kind of switches to more career readiness skills. So you are introduced to the world of careers and available jobs in these 2 grade levels. And again, it still follows a fun and engaging storyline, but they talk a lot more about, okay, if you want to do this career, what kind of training would you need? What would your salary be? Also talks about emergency funds and why they're important, and interest rates on credit cards, etc. So kind of a little bit more in depth when it comes to the more sophisticated concepts of financial education and career readiness, college or career readiness. So those are the basics of the platform. Now, I do want to share with you that we do have some really cool additional resources available for you as supplemental material. One of which is our martPath all access lesson plans and supports for students with disabilities. So this was created because we actually had a lot of intervention specialists who were telling us that they like to use martPath with their students. So because of its flexibility and because of the ability to kind of choose a different grade level for each of their students, for them to work on different curriculum depending on the needs of their students. So we created these. I think somebody might be off mute, so I'm going to really quickly mute everyone again. Okay. So sorry about that. So this is a really great extension not extension activity. This is a really great way for intervention specialists, or if you are a classroom teacher and you would like to provide some students in your class with some additional support. These are actually tiered guides for each grade level. And they level up in complexity. There's bands A, band B, and band C. And we worked with an intervention specialist with over 20 years of experience to create these. And they have, character cards, additional story plot points that can help the students kind of visualize what is being taught, as well as other activities that are based on their ability levels. There is a about 7-minute video that I will say if you would like to utilize these. The creator of the material actually kind of provided a tutorial, so I would highly recommend watching that. Those are wonderful. In addition to that, we also worked with an expert in the field to create these wonderful diversity, equity, and inclusion lesson guides for teachers and parents. And again, when you think about economics and financial education, a lot of times it's bound to raise important questions, such as why do some people have so much while some have so little? So we created these guides with, again, a DEI learning experience designer. And these guides offer valuable guidance for incorporating this DEI content into the classroom learning and leading discussions about these topics in a thoughtful way that allows you to approach these economics and financial education topics in a way that is thoughtful and inclusive for all of the students in your classroom. So I'll just show you really quickly what one of these guides looks like. Hopefully it will load. My internet is not being friendly for me. Okay, so it'll start with some considerations. So even before you teach the lessons, I would encourage you just to kind of read these considerations. So these are things for you as the educator to consider before teaching this particular curriculum. So for example, teachers should be sensitive to the differences of students' access to resources. Think about how questions about possessions will impact students, such as discussing specific brands of clothes and shoes. So, some students in your class might say, oh, I need a Nike shoes versus, oh yeah, I would like some, I want some, things of that sort. So reading this to help wrap your brain around some considerations. And then it goes down to discussion questions. So some really wonderful extension activities. Again, you can add in some additional writing and reading ELA into your class by doing these journal prompts. And then there's some really great suggested read alouds with some discussion questions that kind of go over some topics as well. So I would encourage you to kind of pair them together, even if you don't do everything on this guide. Definitely reading the considerations before is just a great starting point to make sure that you're being inclusive in your classroom. So there are those. So we've got the all access guides, we've got the DEI guides, and then I want to really quickly highlight for you that there are we're running out of time, and I do want to make sure we have time for questions, but we also have some really awesome puppet videos, which I know seems like a very strange transition. However, we worked with a ventriloquist who is now the newest member of Sesame Street. We knew her back then. And she helped us actually write songs and voice these puppets. And the puppets come directly from the characters on the platform. So that's where that correlation or connection is. Now, they're very fun. They're very catchy. They have full lesson plans that are very, very well done. We could do, and we will do, other workshops where we just dive into all of these different lesson plans and things of that sort. But, for example, we just did Blackbeard with level one. So there is, Blackbeard learns a lesson. So this video is all about Blackbeard's under attack. And he wants to fire all his cannonballs because he thinks it's an unlimited resource, but then he starts understanding that resources are limited. So I'm just going to show you just a tiny snippet of this so that you can the production value is very good.
I really thought that I could have it all, so I fired all the cannonballs I own. Now all my resources are blown. I need a loan badly. There's only so much of everything. then water isn't never ending.
You're absolutely right.
I squandered my supply. Yeah, if I want more, there's a price. Yeah.
Oops.
He thought that he could buy more balls with the treasure that his pirates stole. But now the cost is his downfall. Mates he just can't afford. One more cannonball. Should have planned to save them all.
All right. So that's just an example. You know, we worked with our local public broadcasting channel to produce them. So yes, I would highly, highly suggest, oops, let me move this out of the way. I would highly suggest checking out all of these. And as you can see, there's word searches, there's full lesson plans, including PowerPoints, comprehension and reading resources. The lyrics are up there as well. So, you know, if you want to have them kind of have the lyrics to the song memorized, there's just a ton of resources. So that is it. We are so excited to have you guys use martPath and continue to use it in the upcoming academic year. And I just wanted to, again, thank you for your time and for just everything that you do in the classroom with your students. And the fact that you are here means that you care about their financial literacy, and that will help them in the future be more successful and make better choices and become successful citizens. So we are just very appreciative of you and all that you do for your students. So before I end, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions. You can either put them in the chat box or unmute if you would like. And then in the meantime, what I'm going to do is put a survey in the chat box, and then that will allow you to let me know that you were here. So that's how you will get your follow-up email from me. So if you are interested in implementing martPath for the gift cards, what you would want to do is give your students a pre-assessment, and then after you give your students a pre-assessment, you'll email me, and we will send you a $50 Amazon gift card. And then after that, you will teach the 3 lessons for whatever grade level you want, and then give the post-assessment an email again, and then you'll get your second $50 Amazon gift card. So not only do you get this free curriculum, but you also get a stipend if you would like. And then this is a way for us to continue to keep martPath free by getting funders to see the amazing pre and post assessments that we do get. You know, we do typically see a 20 to 30% increase from pre to post assessment, which is pretty impressive. So any other questions? So if you do have any questions regarding how to do a pre-assessment online or anything like that, what I will be doing is sending you guys a user manual. And in that user manual, it will allow you to have access to all of this information again. And there are also, I'm going to scroll down and show you, if you go to support, and we are actually working on making this even more robust, and we're going to add more support, but there are actually also videos. So if you want to watch how to administer the pre-assessments, that's all here. I think you can also get the user manual here as well. And there's some frequently asked questions. So if you ever need that, that's at the very bottom, and you would just click on support and it will allow you to have this information available for you. All right, let me quickly unshare my screen, and I will send the, oops, nope, not that one, the survey in the chat to you all to fill out. All right, I just put the survey in the chat. So if you would just take a moment, and again, this is where you are going to, we'll get your email, and this is the email that we are going to use in order to send you the follow-up. So I will emphasize, please make sure you give me an email that you check, as well as no errors, typos in your email. Wonderful. So I'm so glad. Looks like maybe we have a few veteran teachers here that have used it before and some that are just starting to sign up. It is very easy and very straightforward, and just a wonderful way to introduce your students to financial education. Getting them to learn these concepts at an early age is just so important. You know, we talk about at the center all the time, you don't wait until your students are in high school to start teaching them how to read. You teach them the foundations when they're young. You teach them the alphabet. You teach them the ABCs, you know, and that's what we believe for financial education. Yes, I will resend that. I will resend the, there we go. Oh, sorry. I think I just sent that accidentally, not to the whole group. All right, there is the survey. We finished a little early today, so if you are finished with the survey, you are free to go, and I will be following up with your attendance certificates, as well as giving you the user manuals. So as always, it's a pleasure being here with you all. I will stick around in case there are any questions, but if you've got that survey and no questions, you are free to go and enjoy your lovely weekend. I hope it's nice where you are. Thank you. Oh, how do you access the SmartPath website? So the SmartPath website is smartpathlearning.com. And again, I will be giving you guys, I put that in the chat box, but I will be giving you guys a user manual that will walk you through it all. So as long as you fill out that survey and it has your email in it, you will be getting a follow-up email from me, and it will have a PDF user manual that's going to walk you through the registration process and all that. But to get to all of that good stuff that I just showed you, it is smartpathlearning.com. And then I did want to say we do have some really exciting things coming up with SmartPath, some updates that are going to be happening, hopefully rolling out in the fall. I know that we have a Spanish translation ready to roll out, which will be basically translating all the videos and any of the student forward material into Spanish. So we're excited about that. We're also working on the accessibility of the platform and making sure that it is accessible, and we're meeting all of that. So we are very excited about that. If you maybe came late, I'm so sorry about that. I can send you this recording, and once I just fill out the survey with your email, and I will make sure you get this recording emailed to you, or we do have one coming up in July. I believe it is mid-July. So if you wanted to attend one, or if you want just the recording, that works for me. So we can do that. And any other questions or comments? Whoop. All right. Well, I will stick around again for another few minutes, but you can feel free to, after the survey, head on out. And I will be in touch. I will send out the email Monday, so you should look for that in your inbox. So if you haven't heard from me, I'll put my email in here just in case. If you have any questions or you don't, but if you fill out the survey with your email, you should get an email back. So new material, the question was, is there anything in the works for some new ideas or material with regards to the characters and the storylines and the narration? Not yet, but we definitely are continuing to create new videos with regards to the puppets, which are pretty fun. And even though you might think puppets are for only like pre-K to like 3, some of the videos are really funny and engaging, and the material could be used for older kids. And we do also have other workshops if you are interested that aren't with martPath. So anytime you would like to potentially go to additional workshops that kind of talk about different concepts, like we have an English and economics in the classroom, high school classroom coming up, things of that sort. So did I put that in? Okay, so go to uceconcenter.com, and that's where you will always see our offerings. For the summer, they are all online. Now we are hoping in the fall to get some in person, local Cincinnati area ones. So if you've been with us for a while, pre-pandemic, we did a lot of that kind of stuff. So we're excited to potentially start doing that. So I would definitely recommend, checking out uceconcenter.com, because we always have new fun things happening. All right, any other final questions? We are nearing the end of our time, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Any other final questions before we all head out into the sunset? All right, I will be in touch. I hope you all have a great weekend, and thank you so much for being here. All right, I will talk to you all soon. Bye.